So what we want to do is we want to shift the mindset and enact a paradigm shift so that people don't see corporations as just greedy entities, but actual powerful entities that can enact good change. And there are some. It's kind of becoming a fad. So yeah, we have that going for us, and we feel like that's a pretty powerful base for everything else that we're striving for.
Take the time to remind yourself that it all starts inside yourself.
Wake up feeling stuck every day, then you gotta realize that it's all in your mindset. Read about that meditation, you go get around to it, you just haven't had the time yet. Yeah, I bet. Best thing that you could invest in is you. Could have the results or could have the excuse. Only one life, so take care of what you choose. And I ain't preaching, I'm just telling you the truth. Wake up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bombastik Broadcasting with Kat, Kim, and Sue.
As you know, here at Bombastik Broadcasting, we believe in shining the light on all things bombastic and illuminating the folks who are stoking the fire in their souls one podcast at a time. So, tonight we have Telson. So good. He just has that one cool name.
That's
he
all
is,
you need.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
He is one of a two-person kind of co-creation unit who started this really incredible entity. All right. So the fire in their souls is called FairVu. And this is a benefit corporation created by these two baddies. One of who is here tonight, Telson. The other one is Sasha. And they offer this platform that has a versatile virtual integration of event streaming, media on demand, and e-commerce tools, all in direct benefit to the musicians and the bands. And this is kind of a thing that those of us who aren't musicians, who just like to listen to music, we're kind of unaware of, that there can be a lot of corruption, and musicians aren't getting paid, and there's a lot of things in between there that these guys are trying to solve a pretty big problem. So much to talk about here tonight, right?
So much.
Woo!
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
So much. Thank you, Kat. And
Hey,
Kim.
you're welcome. Thank
And
you for
Sue.
being here.
I'm so stoked to be here.
When was the last time you had
to have you too?
three girls all
I know,
in the same
I
podcast
know.
with you?
Yeah, no, this is different for me. This is different. For sure. Loving it.
Telson, we do want to get into the deep, dark underbelly of what you do because it sounds very, very fascinating. But I just want to start off with something a little lighter, like your logo.
Absolutely.
I believe it has a great backstory. Can you tell us about that?
The logo for the company?
Yes.
It is basically, so the company FairVu is spelled FairVu instead of the traditional VIEW. And what we're trying to accomplish is showing that we are strong in how much we cherish fairness in the free market. And one of the ways that we're hinting towards that is we have a forte in musical notation is how you ask the ensemble to play boldly or loudly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so our F for FairVu is that forte F, and that is kind of just the beginning of the hints and undertones of what we are and what we believe in, and kind of our mentality moving into this.
So I understand that it's hard for musicians these days because we used to be so excited to go and buy the new album.
Yeah.
The new album's coming out tomorrow. Let's go buy it.
Right.
And go to concerts. Both, yeah. They
Right.
were both a lot of, and they are still available,
Yes.
but it's changed a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in general, the music industry has always had challenges for the musician or band, and it's kind of been fun. That's part of the musician's journey, overcoming all of the challenges, the promoting and the booking and selling tickets, and am I going to sell out the show? Are we going to make money on the merch? Those are what we at FairVu consider to be challenges that, while it would be nice to have tools to help you through those challenges, those are always going to be there.
Right.
What's happened over the last 20 to 25 years, a lot to do with technology. have been many iniquities that have been introduced into the musician's world. So in addition to the challenges that they would normally face, they now have an unfair disadvantage in a lot of areas that they shouldn't be swimming upstream like they are, without a paddle, without a life vest. They're just drowning, trying to get anywhere. We've actually recently interviewed a few bands that are calling it quits just because it's too expensive to tour. They're not making any money. Not to say that they're trying, that money is the goal, but in order to spend time creating art, you do need to see some sort of a return so that you can justify continuing it. And it's harder to do that now because these systems that are in place are taking advantage of the musicians and the bands. So yeah, there's a lot going on in the music industry, and a lot of it is unknown to anyone who's not performing or writing or trying to sell their art. And so we're trying to also educate as we provide solutions, and we're attempting to correct the iniquities. And while we are doing that, we hope to address some of the challenges and help musicians in general to overcome those challenges and find a successful path.
I love that. Really giving a voice to the artist and the whole scene, because I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily know what goes into the making of anything nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's, fast fashion and fast music and all of that stuff. And unless you're, really well known and got your shot, I mean, I think that's where the whole starving artist kind of idea comes from, because there isn't a lot of support or I mean, to keep a band together alone is really challenging, right? And then if all the band members have jobs because they're trying to make money to make their craft, and then trying to sell the merch to make the money to keep their craft, plus being up against this this kind of backflow that you're talking about. I mean, I think the awareness of that is really wonderful, for one, and two, that they're creating a platform to kind of help them also have a voice, right? And kind of get paid and get recognized and even get discovered perhaps on a larger level.
Yeah, the discovery these days comes when you're committed and you have a large following. It used to be that you could go out, play shows, and somebody might see you and pick you up. Labels these days are not typically picking somebody up unless they have a sure thing, unless they are established on social media, they have a large following, they know that it's a winning artist. And so it makes it a little bit more difficult for artists because not that technology doesn't allow them to stand out, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And like you said, being in a band is a lot of work on its own. We were just discussing this. I mean, it's like being married to 3 or 4 people, but you don't have the sex to, kind of get all the frustration out. So you're dealing with that, and then yes, you all have jobs, and none of the schedules are going to line up. And then when you do so practicing is difficult. And then when you do want to tour, a lot of times that is people taking time off. They're taking their vacation time. They are saving up, and they are not really, they're paying to play is the industry term. You pay to play, pretty much.
That's the first time I heard that on your podcast. Because so Telson and Sasha also have a podcast. FairVu has a podcast. What is the podcast called again? Because you use the VU very creatively.
So in our world, our company's called FairVu. The platform is not called FairVu, mainly because there are some trademark issues with that. So, but we are capitalizing on the view portion. The view is important to us. When we do build this platform, because it actually isn't built yet, we are fundraising right now, and we can address that in a little bit. But basically, on our platform, you can think of the view as a channel. So as you sign up and you share your content, you live stream, that's all happening on your VU. And the people who are watching and attending your shows are viewers, VUERs.
Okay.
And so throughout our company, we are kind of, playing to the whole view thing. So we have a couple of different series of podcasts on our YouTube channel, FairVu. And one is called an interview, where
Oh,
we
yeah.
are interviewing bands and we're discussing what brought them, what's their origin story, what brought them into music, and then also what do they enjoy, what makes them do music regardless of how difficult it can be. And then we get into all sorts of industry insight, and we talk about great tour stories, so it can get a little fun and crazy sometimes. We also have a series called A Healthy View, and this is where mainly Sasha, listens to new music while he is doing something healthy. It's kind of like a React series.
That's
And
cool. Fabulous.
our spin on it is we're not actually playing the music as you watch the video, which most React videos, they play the track and then they're listening to it. And what we are trying to do is entertain people enough and show that it's an interesting song, and then show where they can go to stream it that will support that artist. Because watching our YouTube channel, the artists don't get any of that. It's a statistical stream. So what we want to do is we just want to be entertaining, funny, and we want to show people, hey, this is a great song. Here's where you can check it out. Go there, play it, and that will actually help the band produce the money. We have another series that kind of goes into our platform and talks a little bit about all of the ins and outs, and that series is called The Overview. So you can see we have kind of the view theme happening. Not spoiler alert, because I can't give the name away of the platform, but the platform does have VU in it, and it's amazing.
Do you think there's a lot of success for, you see these musicians on, Instagram, TikTok and that? Do you think a lot of those people have long-term success that kind of just woof, with their song, and then, or does a lot of that fizzle away, or is that a question for Instagram?
It's all over the place. It's definitely all over the place. And the bands and the musicians and the artists that have a stronger social presence and use social media to their advantage definitely get ahead faster these days.
Okay.
And if you can prove that you have a lot of eyes on you, I mean, the music industry, they're all about money. So if you can make them money, they want you. So that means if you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, if you have a music video that's getting millions of views, those viewers, those subscribers, that's money. And so basically that's how you become successful these days, is you prove that you can bring the larger corporations the money. And that's where the labels are going to come and pick you up and say, hey, we want to sign you, and we want to make you a superstar. And a lot of them are making enough money on their own through all of these platforms, which is not to say they're making they're not making the money that they should be, but they are so good at what they do, and there are so many people online streaming these days, that they are actually able to make a decent amount of money just on YouTube or just on Twitch. And they see the corporate greed, and there's a lot of bands that stay what's called DIY, or do it yourself, where they don't want the labels' help. They don't want to have a corporation telling them what song is next, how to perform, what to say, how to act. That's not creative. That's pretty much anti art. but it's all over the place. They have the ability to go really far if they're successful with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Twitch.
awesome.
I haven't heard of Twitch. Am I just?
It's not surprising.
Okay. Is that sort of? Can you just go there and listen to any music?
Absolutely, yes. There are musicians that perform on Twitch. It started as a gaming platform, basically a place where video gamers would congregate to watch other gamers play and compete sometimes. And it is super, super popular with that niche group. It's not necessary. So outside of the video game world, especially, the 30 and 30 plus, you're not going to really know about Twitch. The younger kids are
Gosh,
pretty
I love the way
knowledgeable
you
about
said
Twitch.
that, Telson. 30 plus. That
I'm
was-
including myself. I'm including myself in this. I actually learned about Twitch when we were trying to find a platform to stream during the pandemic. Our production company was basically out of work. I was technical director for a live events company in Reno, and it basically dried up very quickly. And so Twitch was something that I actually learned about during the pandemic and would probably still not know about if I hadn't been so involved in streaming over the pandemic. But yeah, and so it's mainly video games, but there's also a lot of music. There's a lot of artists that so you'll have an artist who live streams their drawings. That's something that happens. So you can log in. Some people have 30 people viewing. Some people have a couple hundred people viewing. And the funny thing is about Twitch is there's actually channels. There's some really popular video game players that are making tens of millions of dollars a month from contracts, because they have, the funny thing about Twitch is you can look at the statistics and you can analyze everything, and they can prove, these video gamers can prove that they have millions of people tuning in for up to 3 hours at a time without going anywhere else. And you don't have that in any other form of media. You don't have
This is watching people playing video games, right?
Yeah.
The craziest thing. I for one, I'm glad I
know it's not my generation.
It gets so much wilder, though.
Okay.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. We do there are channels on Twitch where you can watch people sleep. There's a whole I don't know if you've heard of ASMR, but that is the where people will eat and very close to the mic, or they'll whisper a poem or a story, and you're just wondering who is watching this, but they're watching it. So yeah, Twitch is a wild world
with a great apropos name, I think, from what we know about it. But that being said, that there's many other avenues out there. But are these guys your competition? I mean, I want to know how to use because this FairVu is like, I can imagine. Okay, so I'm a big fan of how I grew up. Like, there was, preferably I would have liked to have said there was always music on, which blows my mind because my dad was a musician before I was born, like opened for the Rat Pack and James Brown. But then, like, when he tuned all that off, he became a doctor, it's like we never heard music in the house. Once in a while he'd like jam with the bands that were playing, at different venues, and that was always fun. But you would think we would have grown up with music on all the time, but instead it was always the TV in the background, right? So as a result of growing up like that, I pretty much, it took me a really long time to get used to silence. So a thing like FairVu, right, with all the different cool, like, you have interviews, you have the health view, which I saw Sasha doing a plank and listening to the music in the background. I thought that was freaking brilliant. So is this the kind of thing I can just leave on during the day and there's always like something streaming, or do I like pay a monthly fee? How does that work in my life?
Are we talking about FairVu once the platform's built?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
There's I can speak to our plan.
Or is that too soon to talk about?
Absolutely not. No, there's
Okay.
just a lot to unpack there because it would be, first of all, I feel like it's beneficial to better define live streaming, only because that in itself can be kind of a confusing term, and there's a lot of different live streaming platforms. So in general, real quick, there's kind of three ways to look at live streaming. There's broadcast streaming, which is kind of the Netflix and the any sort of broadcast TV. There's music streaming, which would be Spotify, Apple Music, something that you would put on in the background and have playing maybe all day. And then there's media on demand and content streaming, which is kind of the more YouTube, where you are kind of more in control or need to drive a little bit more as far as what you're watching at any given time. You can put on playlists, but you're able to kind of curate your experience a little bit more. So the thing about all of these platforms is they're all following the same business model of data brokerage. It's basically they're allowing you to experience their service almost for free sometimes, because they are contracting with you to collect your information, and then they go on and they sell it to the companies that can digest it and sell it further down the line. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Ooh.
So they're willing to give you a free product because your information is so valuable to them. And most of us don't even, we're like, why me? Like, I'm just some boring Joe Schmo going about my business. But they're collecting billions of data points, and they are able to connect some pretty crazy dots. And so that information is actually more valuable than your money, because they're getting more money for it on the back end. So in this whole crazy world, yeah, you might pay $9 a month for Spotify or YouTube to bypass the commercials, but that's just a small percentage of the community out there. The majority of people are under a free account where they're listening to or watching commercials every couple videos or every couple songs, and then they're able to listen to more music or watch more content. And that's the business model that is the most evil. It is introduced by corporate greed, and it serves them very well. And I don't know if we will ever get to a point where we actually get to see what kind of evil it leads to, but it's not something that we should be okay with in any way, shape, or form. So what we are doing, and now I'll kind of get back to addressing your question, Kat. In order to access our platform, all the viewer accounts are going to be free. We won't have any platform-based advertising. We won't be collecting any information. We will be rejecting the data brokerage business model entirely. What we will be doing is, if you'd like to host a view and you'd like to live stream, share content, then you will choose from either 3 or 4 different tiers of a subscription. So that will be our first business model, is a subscription-based business model. And then we also will be enacting transaction fees on ticket sales and subscription sales. So the artists will be able to, they'll have full control over their view as far as what people pay, how people pay, when people pay. So you can have a completely free view and have all of your content available to anyone, or you can enact a paywall, which is basically it costs something to access your material, or a combination of both. Some might have some free content, and then after a little bit you have to pay for more, or you have to pay for more exclusive content, or all of the recordings are free but the live shows cost something. So all of those transactions on the platform will just take a small percentage of. Now, mind you, Apple Apple and Spotify, they're giving you, what is it, 0.1% per stream, something. You're not making any money. There's an episode of our overview where Sasha breaks down Spotify's payoff to his band because he's a working musician. And it's something like over the 6 years they've been streaming on Spotify, their band's made $350.
So
my
it still is kind
goodness.
of like a
Terrible.
pay to play
Oh,
situation.
they're pay, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The terrible thing is you're not able to not be on Spotify because that's where everybody goes to listen to music. So
Right.
if you are trying to stand up to the system, you are going to fail because it's rigged against you.
Against you.
So you have to find alternate ways to make money. And that used to be through touring. You used to be able to go on tour and promote a new album, or just have fun. And you would actually make money through merchandise sales and ticket sales. There's a couple of corporations, one mainly, that have kind of killed touring. I mean, if you're looking to monopolize and control the entire industry, look at them. They've done it. Like, they are a beautiful example of how you manipulate and control everything. And when you talk to the artists, basically they cannot sell their tickets outside of Ticketmaster. I know a couple bands that they actually tried to go on tour and completely sell their own tickets so that they could maintain that revenue, and the venues wouldn't allow it because the venues are mostly owned by, so yeah, it's a bad world. So what we're doing is trying
just
to
the music world, Kim. Don't worry. He doesn't mean the whole world is bad. He just means the machine.
all corporations are bad. And and that does apply to the world. But yes, no, the world is not evil. The world is beautiful, and we need to. I feel like we do need to embrace that a little bit more. But
that's why you're here, because that's what we do.
That's why we're trying to provide a fair view for all of our artists and creatives. So we're trying to provide them an alternate way of supplementing, they're still going to have to be on Spotify. They're still going to have to deal with the expensive touring, but maybe when they go on tour with our platform, they can charge their hardcore fans a $5 subscription per month, and they can give them a green room, interview or a personalized Q&A every once in a while, give them some exclusive content. And then, you build your fan base. Most bands have a pretty good, at least, the smallest DIY bands have their family and friends, and that's about 50 people. If you have $5 from 50 people every month, you're starting to kind of accumulate a little bit of cash reserve that might allow you to do one more show, two more shows, or actually go to a studio and record something. And then, at a good rate, you might have a couple of hundred fans that are willing to pay you $5 a month, or you might be able to, hook up with a couple of other artists and do a collaboration and sell live tickets at $30 a pop and get a few thousand viewers. So the virtual world is kind of untapped at this point. There are a lot of possibilities with streaming, and we saw a lot of it happen during the pandemic, but we kind of forgot about it after the pandemic. But when you're live streaming, you are eliminating the physical capacity of a room or an arena. So you're no longer restricted as to how many tickets you can sell. The only limitation is bandwidth, and the cost is minimal to expand from, a couple hundred viewers to tens of thousands of viewers. So the ability to, in addition to a physical venue, sell virtual tickets and live stream that, it really doesn't make sense not to include that in your workflow as a musician or a band.
Where they don't do that right now, do they?
It's done by a lot of established bands, and then it's also starting to be done by some like young savvy bands, but it's not standard practice. It's not a given that you can catch a band's live stream. You can typically catch their show afterwards on YouTube. They'll have an edited version typically. If you look at the band Fish, they're kind of like, they wrote the book on how to build your fan base with a virtual presence. They have basically all of their concerts are live streamed, and they have fish parties all over the place. And so basically what they're allowing their fans to do is, they've got hardcore fans and they want to be at every show, but they can't go on tour with the band and watch every show, but they'll have watch parties in their hometowns. And so Fish basically knows this and live streams their concerts and sells tickets. And basically you can enjoy their entire tour all from the comfort of your home. Not everybody's into it, but enough people are that it would allow bands and musicians to make a living again.
Right.
And it would grow the more people knew about it too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The more standard, the more common it becomes, and the more standard practice, the more people accept it and then demand it.
Yeah, I think I like the concept of that. Like, instead of having a Super Bowl party, you have everybody around to your house for the watch party. Then you can boogie with your friends.
Yeah.
Well, you have to have it in the park down the street, right? Or the the empty warehouse.
Sorry, that's what I was curious about. Are you just talking live stream on my personal computer or live stream at the park down the road?
Both. All.
Okay.
And one of the major points that we have, and this goes to our corporation. We are a corporation, however, we are a different type of corporation that does not fit into your traditional standard
of evil.
Kat mentioned up front. Yeah, no, we're not an evil corporation. We are the antithesis. We are a benefit corporation. And one of our benefit purposes is meaningful connections, and that comes through introducing people and fostering a real conversation, a real communication that can exist both virtually and in person. So what we hope to do is build relationships and encourage people to meet online, meet in person, and find things that they have in common and celebrate those things together. And so that can happen at the park, that can happen in your room, however you are as a person. I'm a little bit more intrinsic, but I'll sit on a chat and do my thing, whereas Sasha would want to be in person and shaking hands and slapping everybody on the back, giving hugs. They're so much fun. And you're not, a lot of people think that if you're not at the concert, you don't get that experience. And don't get me wrong, being at a live show is a special experience, but being at a well-produced watch party with a bunch of other people that are into it can be just as exciting and just as fun, and maybe not as expensive, and you don't have to travel as far. So
right. Yeah.
And I do like the community base that really would grow. I mean, if you allow your thought to expand out on that, it would be pretty cool. Like, there's an event location here that shows great live bands, but on the occasions where they're not showing those live bands, to know, like, every Friday or every Saturday night, a couple times a month, there's going to be a live streaming blah, blah, blah show, right? Because in Reno, Tahoe, we get a lot of great events that come to the area.
A lot of good shows.
But how many times have you ever been like, what? Jack White played and I didn't even know that, he was coming? Do I feel like there'd be that much more opportunity to know and all the viewing options that are possible, and then, have that party at your house, or have that party at your local pizza place, or, whatever it is where you could stream. And that does create the community, just that there are so many different options. And if you want to watch alone, but it really does expand the horizons.
Absolutely. We also hope to not just host watch parties, but but bring people together for community outreach, for benefiting the environment. We want to do potlucks, and we want to get together, pick up trash on the beach, and sort of promote togetherness in other ways as well. So back to the benefit corporation, we have chosen to take a route where we are legally obligated to balance our benefit purposes with making profit. And so we've specified 6 different benefit purposes that we will actually be audited on annually by a third party, as well as our board of directors, to make sure that we are addressing all of our purpose statements that we set out to do. So a lot of that is what makes us stand out from the existing corporate structure. Is the board of directors in any corporation is there to make sure that the corporation is making the shareholders more and more money each quarter, and doing so can even be to the detriment of the product or service, and can sometimes be negative towards the employees or even the customers. So what we want to do is we want to shift the mindset and enact a paradigm shift so that people don't see corporations as just greedy entities, but actual powerful entities that can enact good change. And there are some, it's kind of becoming a fad. There are a lot of benefit corporations. We feel like that's a pretty powerful base for everything else that we're striving for.
It's like an accountability partner for good.
Totally. Absolutely. Right? It took a little while for me to come to terms actually with even being a corporation. My initial thought about this was I wanted to be a DBA under my LLC, and I wanted to make sure that nobody could acquire me and nobody could own me. I didn't even want investors. I actually wanted to set out to start a nonprofit that I would eventually hand over control to the nonprofit with certain restrictions. And so I had this whole thing in my head of like, we can't go corporate, we can't let anybody acquire us. And then it kind of turned into this, hang on, there's this thing that might actually work out. And basically it also allows us to sell equity as far as finding investors, which is a good thing when you're looking at trying to fundraise millions of dollars to get a software application or platform built. So
is that really, it's millions of dollars, huh? Jeez.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, when you think about the tech world, $4 million is really nothing. And you think about all the technology out there, all the billions that is being spent on AI and all of the technology. 4 million is nothing. But to us, that's a lot of money. And it's, so that's what we're looking at. Yeah. But we think that is the best 4 million that will ever be spent. Hopefully.
Well, yes. And I mean, I'm
special.
I'm just spitballing here, but I'm sure you've investigated all the options, but you would also think that some successful artists might be interested in investing in something like this. You know what I mean? After having gone through everything they've gone through.
We are trying.
Okay.
The issues that come up have to do with labels and contracts. And a lot of what we do is anti what they do, not the musician, but the ones who the musicians are currently contracted through.
Working with.
So it's a delicate, we're trying to find the right people. And actually what we've kind of done is while we're not against finding large investors, we've realized that this should be more of a community funded grassroots endeavor. And so on our website, we are offering 3 virtual products. Basically, we're offering pre-sale ticket bundles. So when the platform's live, if you purchase a pre-sale ticket bundle, you'll be able to redeem those tickets on the platform at any ticket price for up to 2 years after the platform launches. We also are selling virtual badges. So on your profile of the platform, you'll have a little virtual badge that says early supporter. And we have a lot
That's cool.
of those types of things planned for the platform to show how people are supporting artists and how people are supporting each other. And so we plan to have a lot of swag, virtual swag all over your profile. But the early supporter badge can only be purchased prior to the platform's building. And then our final virtual product that we're selling is a virtual engraving. Now, this is something that I'm actually really proud of. We are putting together a community art project that is building our platform's logo, the visual logo, with all of the names of the supporters throughout this process. So if you've ever seen like a word art or a word cloud, basically the object is built with a bunch of words. We're building our logo with a bunch of names. And if you go to our website, there are 4 different tiers that you can contribute at. Each tier gets you a different color, a different font, and a different text size in the logo. But basically, once we reach our goal, you will not only have built the FairVu's platform logo, but you will forever be a part of the platform in a pretty special way.
Phenomenal. What a
Yeah.
fantastic idea.
Yeah,
Jeepers.
thank you. So we're actually approaching this hoping that instead of finding 4 people, 5, 6 people at $500,000 each, we can reach 1 million people and they each give us $5. And then we feel good as a community about building this thing. And we know that the people own it, the people built it, and it's for the people.
The Constitution of FairVu.
There we go.
Well, I mean, it's obvious that this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I mean, I've had the benefit of knowing Telson for, 2-3 years now. And I mean, it started where we were talking about this over a bar countertop, when I was slinging pizza and beer. And it's pretty exciting. We've both been living our dreams more and more, one step at a time. And the development of this, it's really neat for me to even see, how big of a picture this is and how much it will be developing even more so. I mean, I think that's part of the excitement. I've seen a couple of your interviews, I guess it would be. Yeah. And that's really cool because it's like watching a biography of on getting to understand them, which
you understand what it takes for them to have created that music, because that's not something that everybody appreciates every time they press play. No. They don't think about the hundreds of hours of practicing, the sacrifices, both financially, sometimes relationships, and the education that was involved, and they don't think about all of the dynamics and then the writing and rehearsing. So there is so much more that goes into the music that everybody listens to for free these days. I mean, it's really crazy to think that you have access to almost every song that was ever recorded for free. All you have to do is watch a commercial. I mean,
it is absolutely insane.
We have done a great job of commoditizing art and music, especially. I mean, nobody's willing to pay what it's worth anymore. So we're hoping to slowly change that. Hopefully, with some sort of creative endeavor, artists can kind of squeeze a little bit here and there out of their fan base, and then slowly but surely it becomes a little bit more standard to do this practice and have this going, and then all of a sudden people are willing to pay, a couple bucks at least a month for art and music. That's the big thing is we want people to enjoy the fact that they are supporting the artist every time they purchase something on our platform. It's not going to a corporation. It's going towards that musician, making rent or feeding their family, and hopefully providing us more of their awesome music and art.
Hashtag feed an artist. you know?
Yeah, yeah,
I,
100%.
I look forward to, 10 years down the line when FairVu has all of these branches, because
Me
I'm a visual
too.
artist and a designer. And I mean, there's room for us
Yeah.
there. There's room for
It-
the writers. There's room for.
It doesn't stop at the musicians. And
No.
honestly, Sasha and I are both lifelong musicians, have been in the music industry. So that's where we're starting. But this thing is so much bigger than music. We actually, when I was live streaming with our production company, we were doing ski racing up at Squaw Valley at the time, now Palisades, because the parents weren't able to actually be on the hill watching their kids during the pandemic. So we put a couple cameras up on the hill, had some guy announcing as they came down. And the parents were sitting in their cars in the parking lot on Twitch watching our live stream. All sorts of organizations are going to benefit from having a platform where they can promote themselves and sell their product and have a great place to base all of their online virtual sales.
I know we're coming to the end of our time here, but I have to toot Telson's horn for him since he's not going to toot his own. I mean, even before this, your expertise around putting on an event, I never knew that sound quality could be so good until I met Telson, so
Aww.
all I want to say about that, and I mean, that's a very small toot for how big your horn is. That was weird.
The podcast, Kat. That's the other podcast.
Love to see where this went in the edit bay.
But when people do go to check out your stuff, I mean, I am always blown away at the production quality. I mean, it's not a Wayne's World kind of element.
It started pretty rough, though. I mean, you're very kind to say that. We're getting better. It's getting a little bit better.
You and us both.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's the goal.
Every week.
That's the goal for everybody.
Right.
Absolutely. Yep.
Every day
absolutely.
in every way. Right?
Yes. Telson, how far sort of out are we, do we think?
That's a great question. So we are 2 months. We are technically. I'm 5 years into planning and scheming. I'm a year into actually drawing up papers. We are 4 months out from incorporating, and Sasha quit his job 2 months ago to basically work on this full time. And I would say that we have 2 months of dedicated time, full-time work now accumulated. We have raised enough money to cover us, for a little bit, but we're nowhere near. We're just starting pretty much. I think we have a good plan now, which is kind of what we spent the last couple months doing, was figuring out how in the world we were going to go about doing this, because we're just two musicians with an idea. We don't have any coding experience. We do have some contacts, and we've discussed in depth with a couple of companies, and one in particular here in Truckee, and they're ready to go. They've actually designed every aspect of what we're looking to do individually, and they're like, yeah, wouldn't be too big of a deal to just package it all together and send it out the door. So we finally kind of have our game plan situated, and we're heading into full fundraising mode here. So
great.
That's kind of where we're at. I would love to come back next month and say we've begun. Nice. But we need everybody's help if that's going to be the case.
Well, here at Bombastic Broadcasting, we like to say that a rising tide lifts all boats. So,
absolutely.
How can we support you?
Well, right now we are looking for any sort of contribution at our virtual store. So you would head over to FairVu.net. It's FairVu.net or FairVu.io. Both of those will point you to our website. And on our support page, we've actually had a pretty fun time putting some explainer videos together, because some of our virtual products are, they're you got to have a little bit of an imagination. So we've tried to help as much as we can explain what we're doing here. So check out the support page. We call it our online store, and we have virtual products that start at $5 for a virtual engraving, up to $1,000. We're looking for sponsors for our podcast. So if you'd like to be a sponsor, promote your brand, your business, we'd love to chat with you because we do have a couple of different series that we would love to utilize that as another form of fundraising. And in general, share us, like our YouTube channel, subscribe. Those actually help a lot. If you can't give anything, we get that. We totally understand that. There are a handful of ways that you can help somebody for free these days, and it has to do with subscribing, and sharing.
Yes.
Social media is kind of built on that. So if you can't purchase something, always subscribe. You don't have to turn on the notifications. You can turn those off. You can block the thing, but just subscribe because it helps the channel.
I didn't know that.
Like a video when you watch it. That's something that's really easy to do.
Yes.
And it helps tremendously. So, and then, we'll all come back and discuss what's happening, and hopefully we'll be building a platform that'll change the way a lot of us consume art or support
And
art.
all you need is a million people.
All we need is 4 million
to give $4.
Yeah, well, that's
Surely
it.
That
that's
can't
it.
Be that hard.
It's we just need to go virtual. So we did put out. If Kat hasn't seen our cold plunge video, which you didn't mention it, so maybe you haven't. We're hoping that could be our viral video ticket. Basically, Sasha and I do an episode of A Healthy View where we cold plunge in Donner Lake, and if that doesn't do
when
it,
did you do that?
This
February?
was.
Tell me it's
yeah,
February.
this was not that long. No, but it was cold. There wasn't a lot of acting.
Even last weekend would have counted.
It was maybe 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
We did follow it up with a second cold plunge that Sasha did, where he basically was too cold the first time, so he bundles up and he's wearing a puffy ski jacket, a beanie, and he trudges right into Donner Lake with all his clothes on and does a second plunge. So we're hoping to kind of put the content out there that could lead to the million people all wanting to give a couple bucks.
All right. Well, until the next time, be part of something bigger than you. Be beneficial to the bands you love, and be part of the FairVu you want to see in this world.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. So much more in this world that you can do. Wake up. Every little thing in this life that you're going through don't mean a thing. Wake up. You keep shining. You keep grinding. Wake up. All is aligning. All you gotta do. Wake up. My man Mo said that the reason that the world fucked up is cause everybody lazy. Positivity is corny to them, but they still gon' complain about the bad going on. Shit crazy. So I just had to drop a little project. I don't know what the object is, but this feels good. If you too hood for the good vibe, sorry I ain't got nothing for you. Why should I?
You shouldn't. We out here doing the things that y'all wouldn't. Life could be a sweet ride, proof is in the pudding. These guys with the weak vibes, I'll show them where to put it. Down bad, I was looking for the answer. Mind all mad, taking over like a cancer. Canceled the sub plans, came from up above. Told me everything we doing, showing love, and I gotta
wake up. So much more in this world that you can do. Wake up. Every little thing in this life that you're going through don't mean a thing. Wake up. You keep shining. You keep grinding. Wake up. All is aligning. All you gotta do. Wake up.
I've been getting so high, head up in the clouds. I don't ever wanna come down, but I gotta
wake up.
Ain't enough time to be down. Bust a smile, cause it's yet another day that I'm allowed to
wake up.
Feeling blessed to be alive, man. Not long till we thriving. Take the time to remind yourself that it all starts inside yourself. Most.
Wake up feeling stuck every day, then you gotta realize that it's all in your mindset. Read about that meditation, you go get around to it, you just haven't had the time. Yeah, I bet. Best thing that you could invest in is you. Could have the results or could have the excuse. Only one life, so take care of what you choose. And I ain't preaching, I'm just telling you the truth. Wake up. So much more in this world that you can do. Wake up. Every little thing in this life that you're going through don't mean a thing. Wake up, you keep shining, you keep grinding.